You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
Niall's on holiday.
Hooray.
And it's me, Brian.
I mean, hooray, because holidays are nice. I'm not saying hooray that Niall is not here. Please don't get mad at me.
In this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of October 19th to the 25th.
Is that right?
I don't think that's what you put in here.
That's what I wrote down, but I'm questioning myself now, of course, immediately.
Oh, and now my phone's going off and playing whatever I was watching. A Sengoku Youko, I think. No, Mecha-Ude. Well organised here. Yes, let me double check those dates. Yes, right, 19th to 25th. Correct. Starting with Ranma 1/2, episode 3, because there's someone he likes.
Yeah, it opens up with Ranma in his happy place. He is in a hot springs, so nothing bad can happen to him here, unless he has a nightmare about someone declaring his affections for him, rising as a giant monster out of the deeps. I really enjoyed that opening. It was just like you portrayed the nightmarish quality of it pretty well.
Yeah, so this is mostly two-pronged. It is establishing the fact that Kuno is exceptionally stupid.
Yeah.
And cannot tell that Ranma and the pigtailed girl are the same person, even when essentially they transform in front of him.
He has a hold of the pink-haired girl and was refusing to let go. So your one pours boiling water on Ranma, scalding him and turning him back into a boy. And he's like, "Where did the pink-haired girl go?" It's like, buddy, like you saw it happen. You were there. He turned into a boy in your arms. What aren't you getting here? But the other part he doesn't get, where everyone's just like, you can't be in love with, like, you can't be with two girls. That's bigamy. That's a crime. And he's like, no. Yeah, I'm in love with both of them. I don't understand why is that a problem. It's just like that you cannot get this through to him that one party or the other might be upset about that situation.
Yeah, and so I never thought about it before, but he's in class with Nabiki, so I assume he's like a year or two older than Ranma and Akane.
Yeah.
Because Nabiki is selling photos of the pigtailed girl and also of her sister to Kuno.
And fucking she knows her audience. Like you gotta give her that, because like he's into the pink-haired girl because she's tough and cool, and he's into your one because she's like she's a perfect, I was gonna say gentlewoman. She's a lady, that kind of thing. So he's selling pictures of Ranma in compromising positions, like, having a bath, like falling asleep, like that kind of thing. It's like, so you get the hard, tough thing that you're into in soft ways, but then you get the soft, lovely girl doing karate. It's just all pictures of her doing karate in the dojo. It's just like, So she's catering to the needs he doesn't get. And I was like, that's good marketing. Although you probably shouldn't be selling pictures of your sister. That's fucking weird.
Yeah. The other key part of it, which is what the title relates to, is dealing with Akane's crush on Dr. Tofu and the fact that she knows that he's actually in love with somebody else, her older sister, Kasumi. He's incredibly competent when Kasumi's not around, but as soon as Kasumi shows up, he becomes incredibly incompetent. And also his eyesight goes.
Yeah, he goes a bit Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
Somehow, like, it's not even explained, like his eyes are like steaming up his glasses or something like that from the hot sweats or something. But it's just he gets very, very fucking incompetent and dumb to the point where, while demonstrating that he can totally fix Ranma's. See, every time Grandma's like, a girl can't beat me, and we cut back to him with his limbs dislocated at the chiropractors, and it's like, dude, I think a girl can beat you. This specific girl can kick your ass. So it fixes him, but like when the sister kind of comes around, breaks his neck. Like it's bent at an angle it should not be, and him being stuck like that for the rest of it is very funny.
Yeah. Also, earlier he used a pressure point thing to paralyze his legs so that Akane would have to carry him home.
Paralyze his legs like at a time delay, like he's counting it down in the doctor's office. Yeah, good shit.
Yes. Just so he's forced to appreciate Akane in a different way to how he's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like driving. They're starting to find each other attractive. Is the
They
thing.
do not want to admit this, but yeah, that's what a lot of the episode
Yes,
is. Mm.
and this was the episode where I realized this show is scared of punchlines. So this is 2 episodes in a row now. I did check the next week, so I think that happens next week as well, where it ends on a dramatic moment. Where in the comic, that dramatic moment happens like a page or 2 pages before the end of the chapter, and then the chapter will actually have a proper comic punchline to diffuse the moment of drama.
I wonder if that's a thing of like streaming as well, though, because like if it's a dramatic moment, you want to watch the next episode. But if it's a punchline, you're satisfied. It's like I've had my fill. I can move on. That kind of way.
Yeah, they don't do the punchline in the next episode either. It's not like Jujutsu
They just
Kaisen
leave it
where
out.
they just leave it out entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, the one in this one is not. It's not worth really coming back to. But the one they miss out next week's episode is a little annoying. Maybe that one will make it way into episode 5. But yeah, I realized I was like, is this what I didn't like about Maiden Koku in the 80s as well? There's a temptation, I think, to believe in the core relationship stronger than Rumiko Takahashi herself believes in the core relationship. Because reading the comic, it feels like the core relationship there is a way to get to gags.
Yeah. The premise is entirely like a way to get to gags. It's not an investigation of gender. That is a way to get to gags. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. And it's will they ever get together? Spoiler alert. You'll never know because it doesn't properly end. They just once the readers lost interest, the comic ended.
You would like it's the kind of thing of you can presume so because it was written that would be the way it was going, but the characters are like pretty much right for each other. Like it's just like, oh, so you'd be only into like tough women and you're not into dudes. Congratulations, this dude is 50% a woman half the time. So yeah, it makes sense. But like it's the purpose of it isn't to see will they, won't they? The purpose is gags. Like that's what it's here for. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, apart from that, it's good. But I was like, oh, it clearly is more invested in the romance than I feel like the original comic was.
Sure.
Which I guess is Euroscience Era falls into that as well. To the point where it kind of damaged the comic. Because people wanted to see Ataru and Lum get together when it's like clearly that should not be anybody's desire.
Yeah, they're awful. I mean, they deserve each other in the fact that they're both awful, but that's not what you should be rooting for.
No. But yeah, the other thing that made me realize because I was like, there's an image where Kuno gets angry and it looks like a volcano erupts from his head, and I was like, oh, that's where I stole that image from for my superhero role-playing game campaign. I had a character called Volcano Jones, whose top of his head was a volcano. And I was like, oh, that's where that image stuck in my brain from. I was like, suddenly like, oh, that's always been in my head, and now I've just remembered where it came from.
It's always been a part of you. Yeah.
Otherwise, good episode, apart from my minor criticism of the adaptation. Then we said goodbye to the Mushroom Pup this week. I got time for you because someone told me Nabashin had done a storyboard on episode 3 of Puniru is a kawaii slime. So I watched that, and then I watched the previous 2 episodes, which are episode 1, I Hate You and I Love You, and episode 2, Neither Friend Nor Slime, and of course episode 3, Kawaii Puniru is a slime.
I did watch the Mushroom Pup, and I'm also going to drop it, I will say, because it's just like, hey, Mushroom Pup, Halloween is a thing that exists, and I mean, like, it's good timing, I'll give them that, but it was just like, are you gonna do violence on this depressed man at any point, Mushroom Pup? No, just gonna eat his bread, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I need that little edge to it. You know what I mean? That's what made it really fucking funny.
Don't worry, Puniru the Kawaii Slime has plenty of edge.
I was watching this like a fucking hawk looking for the horny, and it's not entirely explicit, but it's fucking there.
Yes, this is a Koro web comic. It's not in the magazine itself. So ostensibly, it's aimed at kids who are still in primary school. But I think the web comic may be edged a bit higher because this has the gimmick where you get flashbacks to where the main characters were younger when he first created this slime.
Yeah.
But currently, the main character is 13 years old.
He's in
Most of
middle
his friends
school,
are
like,
13
so,
years old. There's the woman he loves is 14 years old and a year above.
Yeah.
But I think what the gimmick is that it's very much about being 13 years old. And that thing of like your hormones and your desire to act like an adult is part of going on in your body. But also you still want to play with toys.
Yeah, I like the idea behind it in that regard, because like it's like, I'm in middle school now, I'm a grown up. It's just like you're not, though. Like, you were a child last, like, a month ago, kind of thing. So like that's not how this fucking works. And even the friend is like, oh, he's a real lady killer, oh, he's a real player, but he just wants to play like pogs and shit. You know, he still wants to do the things that he was doing a couple of months ago, because he's really into this child anime, because he's a child. That's the important thing. Yeah.
But they are also horny.
Yeah.
Except for Puniru. She is just a kawaii slime. So the story is, there's this boy, he was watching TV, they were teaching you how to make slime. He made some slime and it came to life, and it has lived with him ever since.
You've seen this before. Wasn't this essentially like the plot of Ted? I wish my teddy bear was alive. I wish my slime was alive. And I mean, like, without like going into the adult thing, it's like just 2 or 3 years, not very much longer later, but a lifetime to a child. Yeah.
Yes, 7 years has passed, they state. And so in the flashbacks, she's a penguin, and in the present day, she is a genderless girl. That's the point in the third episode, where they point out you don't have any gender, so turn into a boy and win that sword fighting competition. And she's obsessed with being cute. That is her entire reason for being. And
she wants to be praised from the boy that met her, but for being cute, because he's into cute things, or at least he was into cute things.
Yes,
and
he still is.
He still is, but like, he's kind of fucking done with her and her bullshit after a couple of years with it. Yeah.
Yes. The boy is Kotaro Kawaii. Everybody's name is on point.
Yeah.
And he's still obsessed with cute things, but he's now obsessed with, it's like a combination of Mickey Mouse and Hello Kitty, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the biggest theme park, because it's those two things smooshed together. Yeah.
Yeah, he's obsessed with that. He's got 2 school friends who look just like the 2 kids from Doraemon.
I like in the opening they look like regular guys, but in every point in the anime they have that, like, the pouty lip fucking face at all fucking times, just to show how background a character they are. It's great.
And once they learn about the slime and that she can turn into things, they convince her to turn into this idol who they fancy. So she does, and they want to grope her, and she just reads it as they want to play with slime.
It's the idea that it's just like, hey, did I make the tits too big? And they're like, no, fucking don't change a goddamn thing. It's like, could we check them? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. Fucking.
So she slices them off and throws them across the room. And they're partly horrified, but partly still fascinated. And then she's like, oh, boys still love to play with slimes even at 13.
See, this is what I'm talking about with the weird fucking horny kind of, like, just like.
Oh yes, this is X-Men Totally Spies level. It's gonna give people fetishes for sure. Except because
it's made by people with fetishes. That's the other thing I was seeing. I was just like, was this made for people or by people? Probably both. Yeah.
It airs in the middle of the night, so the ostensible audience for it aren't the ones watching it. It's the audience the comic got because it's on the web, and other people who aren't small children can just go ahead and read it. I think that's why it's on in the middle of the night. It's also written by Michiko Yokota, is doing the adaptation, which is why it's very funny, and it has more gags than the actual strips do, because she's very good at tagging jokes and putting in jokes which work with the jokes which are already there. So this actual, like, the first episode is just the introduction. The second one introduces the teacher, who's a mad scientist who ends up turning Puniru evil, and introduces Mami, properly who's the crush. And her thing is she's still got like the young girl's thing of being obsessed with being a mother, even though she's 14.
Like obsessed to the point of it's absolutely a fetish, but obsessed also to the point of it's just like, this is wrong. All of this is very bad. Like I think it opens with her having saved a child or found a lost child and brought it to her mother, and the child is fucking shaking from trauma, essentially.
Yes. And so Katara, in order to try and impress Mami, convinces Puniru to turn into a small girl that he can go and rescue.
Her magical girl transformation sequence is she takes borax and what's the other fucking thing that makes
laundry starch,
and pours them into herself to change her form. And what is it like? She slides down a slide into a gacha machine. Out of the gacha machine comes not a ball, but her holding the ball, and then it's the new her. It's weird. And at any point she can be dismembered or like turned into a puddle or come through a pipe. So yeah, the form, the magical girl transformation is just because that's what you got to do basically.
Yeah, and she'll add like an extra ingredient to the 2 standard ingredients, which will somehow be related to her new form. So she, as the small child and the devil woman form.
I think that's when you mix in she drank iron filings, and then one of the boys was like, "Oh, cool, let's mess with a magnet," and then she sucks in the magnet, and then she becomes evil. But like by evil, like a child's version of like, "I've mixed up everyone's shoes. What are you gonna do about it?" It's like not that evil, really.
Yeah. And then the third episode is a flashback to how she won at one point won a trophy for being the cutest being on Earth. And this involved her slicing the front half of her body, and it was just the front half of her body.
Because he was like, I never want to see your face again. And he's like, all right, I'm going to send my face on its own fucking adventure. So the face goes to America, becomes the best mascot in Disney's Hello Kitty park, and wins the world prize for cutest character ever. And is promptly crushed by the trophy, horrifying the entire audience.
So this is
a couple of seconds. Yeah,
this is definitely the best episode of the 3, and it's also the least horny episode, I would say.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, is the horniness coming from the storyboarders rather than the show?
It could be. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely stuff there because it's absolutely clear as day in a piece of dialogue in the 4th episode. But and then the second half is what is the second half of this one? It's back in the modern day. Oh, the cafe.
He's going to a cafe, but it's again that friggin' Hello Kitty Minnie Mouse cafe. But he can't get the special platter because that's for couples.
Yes.
So the fact that she has followed him here in his coffee, somehow as it's just like, you can be the stand-in for, and he was just like, I'm going to age myself up to your age and make it weird. It gets really fucking weird.
Yes, because it's made weird by the staff at the restaurant. Not
that guy is very insistent on the fucking rules. It's like, we can't serve this to you unless you have a date. It's like, we gotta take a picture of you hugging your date before you're allowed to eat the fucking
super and the punchline is he hugs her so much that she splits in two.
And takes the photo after she's been bisected.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's pretty much it. It's a weird show, but it is
very
funny.
Fucking strange. Yeah.
And it's definitely got like, not so much in the show itself, but in the opening and the closing, it definitely feels like it's like hoping people who like Pop Team Epic will hop on board with like her face appearing on buildings and stuff, and the march of multiple Pooniroos, one after another, reminded me a bit of the similar sequence at the start of the second Pop Team Epic season. So it feels like it's grasping for that, and I feel like it's closer to that than, say, Nokatan was.
Yeah, this is a character who's definitely like self-obsession is kind of built into the character as well, so that kind of works a little better than Nokatan, who's just obsessed with being a deer for the most part.
Yes, Nokatan is a nicer show. This is an edgier, nastier show. which is why I kind of quite like it, but at the same time, I feel like, should I be watching this?
See, that's the thing. It's one of those things. Is it a look over your fucking shoulder show to see if anyone's fucking coming in behind you? Like, and genuinely funny things, like she accidentally falls off a building and he runs to catch her and she falls into pieces because she is made of slime. And then she's like, "Oh, I can't believe you came to save me." And she wasn't paying attention and has attached her leg onto her top of her head. So when it's doing the romantic pan up, it goes all the way up to her fucking foot. And I was like, "That's a good joke." What is it? Is it too creepy to watch? That's the fucking.
That is the question. Anyway, I watched the next episode as well. So clearly, it's not too creepy.
Yeah. Hasn't hit that yet.
Is it too creepy to be discussing in polite conversation?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Poonie. It's well made. It looks good. It just is weird. As I think I know what it's grasping for. I'm just not sure that some of the storyboard artists know. But 3 is definitely worth checking out for the Nabishin storyboards, because that is where the action gets the weirdest and the gloopiest, and it feels the most like some sort
just
of.
Just describing it, it sounds it's all entirely fetish. You fucking shit you're describing. You like it weird and gloopy.
Well,
like
when the episode 4.
The first episode, like when he goes to school after getting glooped and he's washing his hands, it's like, oh, I can't believe I have to wash off all this slime from my live-in friend who's a girl. And I'm just like, hang on a fucking sec, you're not even being subtle with this shit. It's just, it sounds grosser when you talk about it, and that's the insidious.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's hard to talk about without seeming like a weirdo. Anyway, highly recommend it. Everyone should go out and watch it, so we're not alone. Next, Orb on the Movements of the Earth, episode 4, the fact that this world is far more beautiful than heaven, in which we meet 2 depressed duelists who are contemplating their mortality.
Well, one's depressed, the other one's got it all figured out, man. I mean, that's just, at the start, he thinks he has it figured out.
Yes.
He has a thing that he can.
Yes.
It's keeping him together. You shouldn't have hung all your fucking hopes and dreams on one thing in case that thing went wrong, which it inevitably does. But yeah, so we have I've forgotten the 2 lads' names. Yeah, they're
Orsi and the other guy who's with a G. I guess he's not going to make it very long because he's not in the credits.
We don't know. Yeah, it's definitely more focused on Orsi anyway, because he's like he's pretty fucked up. He's like, hey, is it okay that I kill people for a living? And it's like, no, it's a legitimate business. Like, a noble challenges another noble to a duel, and the noble who doesn't want to fucking die in a duel goes, I've hired a pair of fucking assassins to do that job for me. One's just going to fucking fight. The other one's just going to witness. Make sure it's all above board. They do this wearing black masks so they cannot be identified. And I'm just like, yeah, this seems really legitimate. And even when they're passing by a couple of friends of theirs in the guild later, they're like, hey, lads, how's it going? You know, they're just having a chat while some dude's getting stabbed in the background. It's just regular ass 9 to... Well, I'd say 9 to 5, but it is an entirely nighttime job, obviously.
Grass is the guy who's been looking at the stars, and this has given him a newfound sense of optimism. But it's explained later by another character that he used to be really depressed because all his family died in the plague, and he felt guilty that he survived.
He felt guilty. He tried to kill himself. The church forgave him for that sin. And he's like, well, I didn't want to fucking survive suicide, actually, but I've been tracking the movements of Mars, he explains to his good fucking buddy. Where it's just like, check it out. I've been tracking it for like 2 fucking years now. It's doing a perfect circle in the sky. And when that fucking there's a meaning to shit. There's an order to the fucking greater universe. And that's why it's fucking cool. And this is presented against our other boys kind of thing of, it's like, hey, the heavens look pretty cool, don't they? And I think it's essentially a priest telling him, it's like, yeah, so the way the universe is, gravity makes things fall to the bottom, right? Right. So we're at the lowest point of the universe. This is the shittest place in the universe. And they just let us look at the heavenly bodies to go like, wow, that looks nice. You could never achieve that. You're stuck here in the hole with the rest of us. And that is incredibly depressing for him. So he's very pretty fucked up from it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also fucked up because he's killed all these guys who wanted duels for honourable reasons, but every time they're about to die, they're not looking forward to going to heaven. They're begging for their lives. And he's like,
The
does that
latest
mean
guy
I'm...
in this episode is like, "I'll see you in hell," basically, and it's just kind of
Yes.
like, from heaven. What do you mean?
Am I not going to get into heaven? And then we get like the introduction when they're in this bar and a noble tries to kick them out, and they have to explain. Well, Grass explains, no, we're part of the guild. We're allowed to be in this bar, whereas Orsi does this over the top apology to him. But it is because then when the day when he doesn't see, when Mars hasn't moved when he thought he was going to move, the noble comments where you picked the wrong time for you to
start tracking that.
To start tracking that. So this is the suggestion that there's a class thing going on where this noble knows astronomy stuff.
Yeah, he might have studied it offhand with all the money that he had going to third level education. Whereas this is just some layman who's like just jotting it down in a fucking notebook, basically, like doing it of his own volition. So doesn't understand that it's balls. I've forgotten the name of the thing where Mars changes, not changes orbit. The rotation basically means like it looks like it starts going the opposite way, basically. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it's the idea that perhaps the nobles aren't being persecuted in the same way the common man is.
One rule for you, another rule for me. That kind of fucking thing. Yeah.
Because we see our guy Novak from part 1 he shows up towards the end because he's supposed to be torturing people still.
Still his job. He hasn't lost the job. Also, his beard's really come in very nicely.
Yes. But Ossie and Grass, I guess they're also city guards as well as being professional duelists.
They're swords for hire, and you can do multiple things with that because they're hired as caravan guards, essentially.
Yeah, to take this guy to be executed.
Professional fighters. Yeah.
But this heretic, he gets in their heads. And by the end, Grass has freed him, and it's like they're going to be on the run next episode.
The way that kind of goes, of your man kind of going like, "Don't you fucking say another fucking word," and then the other guy's like, "Whoa, man, back off!" Okay, we're like, we got to let this guy get to the fucking execution site. We can't be just murdering him in the back of the thing. But then he starts getting to the other guys like, "Okay, they both have swords on him," and he gets to them in kind of like in interesting ways where he's just like, yeah, you're fucking, this shit is fucking lighted. This shit is bullshit. As the title things, this world is more beautiful than heaven. Like there's actually way more to this than you think, that kind of thing.
Yes, and he's like, and you want to know more? It's right there in that mountain outside that we just went past.
Yeah,
and this is
there's
the
a
thing
stone chest on top of that mountain. So
yeah, and so Grass wants to know more, and so what could possibly go wrong? And then we get the end credits where Grass is notably not in the end credits. As we have.
Well, I mean, like some other people are in the end credits who are fucking dead for several years. So yeah.
Well, yeah, it's Raphael is leading the 3 main characters from this part.
Yeah.
2 of which we have not met yet. There's a monk and there's a young lady. And I guess they're following his research. There's like mention also here of like Uxie's got great eyesight. That's mentioned earlier.
He's got great night vision. I mean, like in this line of work, you'd kind of want to have good night vision since you do all your fighting at night, basically. Yes. So
I really like the bit at the start where they're having this discussion about the skies and heaven, and then it's like, okay, off to work, put on these balaclavas.
Yeah, it's just like 2 guys just having a regular conversation. It's like, oh, fucking, it's signing on time. Puts on the balaclava. It's like, what the fuck? And it's like, no, we're here to murder people for a living, legitimately, not in any kind of illegal way. Which, that's why the noble is trying to kick him out of the bar. Not because this is like they can't be there. Literally, they can. But you guys murder us for a living. Other nobles pay you to murder other nobles. So doesn't feel good.
Really enjoyed this. The art kind of bits of it reminded me of Steve Dillon of all people. I think it's just some of the close-ups of Ox's eyes.
Yeah, I guess the kind of like the fear and madness that he's kind of going through, or
it's enjoyable, and I like that. It's not as bleak as even the first 3, where our main character dies in the first 3 episodes. It's not as
it's not bleak because it has that hope, and even in him dying, he knows like it doesn't end with me. I know that because like what I was looking into was real and true. And even if they don't find my research on the top of the fucking mountain, someone else will come to the same conclusions I have if they just are seeking truth, essentially. Which is what
Yeah.
our two swordsmen are trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, one is, and the other one is being dragged into it. And I guess we'll continue throughout the rest of the series. Then we've got One Piece fan letter, absolute goddamn masterpiece.
Fucking so fucking gorgeous. Like I teared up a little because I was just like, holy shit, this is so good. I mean, like it looks fantastic. Like if you've never seen One Piece, it's actually a really good way to start because it's like here are guys in the One Piece universe. They're aware of the Straw Hats. They do not exist in the same fucking circles as the Straw Hats, so it's very different from their perspective. So like the battle at Marineford is fucking horrific from like the regular ground soldier's point of view.
Yes.
Understandably, it's like yeah, those giant things that were shooting off all the time to a regular dude with a fucking gun, you're just like, oh shit, the gods have come to fucking fight on Earth. That's what it kind of like from their perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, so the story two positions. One is the Summit War at Marineford
Yeah.
at that point in time, and then 2 years later at Sabaldi Archipelago as the Straw Hats are returning.
Yeah, it's set in 70 where they're coming back after the what was it 3 days 2 years or something like that. I think that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's how the Straw Hats in general and Marineford has affected all these people's lives and the kind of knock-on effects from that. And the main one is obviously one of the main ones is a little girl who's like Nami's like me for real. Or rather, she wants to be like Nami. It's just like
Yes.
she seems classy and doesn't have any devil fruit powers. Does not do things through brute force. It's like just her wits and wiles and intelligence and stuff. And she beats people with that. And it's like, which is true. She's the little girl is quite correct about this, but she's also a little girl without the same access to the same stuff that a lot of those guys had. So she has to live her regular life while this larger than life inspiration kind of like spurs her on, and that's kind of the way with a lot of people as well.
Yeah. So our other main characters are there's two brothers who are at the Summit War.
They live across like down the road from her, or they grew up down the road from her because she's like her mom's a wholesaler and they're at a greengrocers, I think is where they grew up or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
But they're in the Navy now, and the mom wants her kid to grow up so she can send wages back home, like these two strapping young lads from the greengrocers down the road. But they kind of got fucked up from, or at least one of them got pretty fucked up from the whole Marineford thing. Is like being a regular ground soldier, Navy guy in One Piece. You're not the main guy. You're not even close to the main guy.
There's a bookshop owner who's a big fan of the Soul King,
Yeah.
and she misses his last concert. And then we've got the benevolent king of the waves, the marine captain, who is secretly in love with Chopper.
It's the idea is like, oh, he looks tough and hard, but he actually really cares about people, and he rescued us all in Marineford from this giant crumbling iceberg. And it's just like he just thinks Chopper is so cute, he could not possibly bring himself to arrest him. It's just like, oh, I just want to smooch his little face. Yeah.
Yeah, those are your main ones. There's like a few others you see from the Marineford when they're
There's
in
also
the bar
all
discussing.
the drunk lads at the bar going,
Yeah.
"Who's the strongest?" Who's like all the One Piece fans going like, "Which one's the strongest character / swordsman?"
Specifically swordsman, because they get annoyed when other people wander into the conversation, including Sanji to suggest himself.
See, that's the other thing. It's like it is the time when they all meet up, but they're all in town, but in different parts of town, like walking through the backgrounds of other people's lives unnoticed, because they've all changed their looks as well. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so the crux of the story is the younger brother has got to deliver this like a, what do they call them?
Cipher?
The cards. There's a card with like the holes in for operating a machine. Punch card.
Oh, so I thought it was to get a code, but yeah. You're right.
He's got to deliver this punch card so they can set off their new weapon, which will poison the sea and dissolve ships.
It'll dissolve ships all around Shabandi, which will kill the Straw Hats, which are obviously marine captains. Kind of like, I don't want it. What if Chopper's on one of those boats?
Yes.
Oh no!
Yeah. Also, he's bothered about the ecological damage you'll do, but
Yeah.
he's being told by somebody unseen higher up to do this. Meanwhile, the young girl has got to deliver. So this punch card is in an envelope. This young girl has her own envelope with her letter to Nami, her fan letter. What is possibly going to happen?
Yeah, yeah, and it's also like the letter's been delivered by the younger brother, who is at least a couple of promotions ahead of the
Yes.
older brother, and the younger brother's bringing this punch card, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like, oh, well, they're definitely going to mix up the letters. But
Yeah,
it's the
he ends up with both
interconnectivity of all
them.
these people. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get confused and think she's stolen the punch card, and she helps the Straw Hats get away because they're chasing her, and then she rips.
But it's not just her chasing. It's not just her helping the Straw Hats. It's the Brook fans showing up to see Brook off, that kind of thing. It's the older brother,
Perona.
if Perona, like, randomly just fucking, like, getting people depressed to get out of her fucking way. Like, everyone's wandering around town. It's the older brother kind of like I'll see it through part of the way. I'll let you see the Straw Hats off because he also likes Luffy for his own reasons. Even though it's just like, I do have to arrest him, but I gotta respect him because he made me a better fucking person, essentially.
And the fake Straw Hats are involved as well because
yeah.
the little girl overhears where they've spotted the Straw Hats. She goes to that area and she's annoyed that she can't see the Straw Hats. And particularly annoyed when she sees who's passing herself off as Nami.
I mean, she's got a pretty good Nami costume going herself. And just it's the imagery of, like, people, like, becoming better for the Straw Hats existing. Like, because initially it's like the thing of, they made our lives worse because the world's in turmoil and that kind of shit, but they give something to inspire and aspire to be. So kind of her decided to go, I'm gonna, like, fight back against the Navy, make sure the Straw Hats get away. That's the one moment where she purposely puts on her glasses, which makes her look not like Nami, because it's like, I do need to see what I'm doing in my crazy goddamn plan. Refusing to wear them up to that point because she wants to look more like Nami. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. She was also because her mum was telling her to wear the glasses.
Yeah.
So it all ends up with a chase, and she rips what the Marines think is the punch card, but it turns out just to be her letter because they're like, "Oh, we can't arrest her for that." And then the brother goes, "Oh, well, I guess I got it after all."
Yeah.
By this time, the Straw Hats have gone away. It's just so. It looks so good. There's so many little jokes, like the magazine about facts about Frankie. That Chopper is interested in. He's fascinated by that. He reads it in the bookstore and then doesn't buy it. Much to
that's your one's annoyance. Everyone just comes in to read stuff. Even the kids who come in, it's like, hey, let's read some stuff. You don't have to buy it. That's what's great about the fucking bookshop. And then when they see her, she's incredibly depressed. It's like, Soul King is Brook of the Straw Hats. He's down there. He's getting away right now, so we could go see him, even though you didn't catch his last concert. So it's this kind of hope that everyone gets, and I love the kind of symbols of, like, you get a little piece, one piece of a jigsaw puzzle, and they're kind of like adding them together, and then all the characters kind of coming together to build this whole fucking this tapestry of this story that you're watching now. It's lovely.
Yeah, it is unsurprisingly Megumi Ishitani as the chief director here, and
hey, we haven't seen her do anything in a while. What's she up to?
Yes,
fucking magnificence, obviously. Like,
yes, it's like,
leave her off to cook, and it'll come back amazing.
Yeah, this is based on one of the novels.
Okay, well, okay.
One Piece novel, Straw Hat Stories. So yeah, some of the stories from there. No, not all of them. Yeah, it's good. We're going to wait till April for it to come back proper. But
yeah. I mean, it's pretty caught up. It needs the space, so.
Yeah, but also let her do a movie. I want a full movie looks like this.
I don't care how long it takes her. It would look so fucking good. It would have such good, like, transitions and, like, just shapes and motion. It would, let her do a fucking movie. It'll be magnificent.
Then we got from sublime to the ridiculous, Chibi Godzilla raids again. Season 2, episode 29. Monster Party Games. What does my notes say? My notes say Mothra loves Mecha-Godzilla. That's their revelation in this episode.
feel like they've hinted that before, but here's pretty explicit. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're going to play monster games for all the family because it's a monster party, which is what's that one? Who's the king or something like that? I can't remember the proper name of it.
Yes. Yeah, that would be King
So you have
Game or
to,
whatever it's called.
yeah, you have to pull out the straws, and whoever gets the marked one gets to be the king, and you have to follow the king's orders. And the twins are like, oh, we're gonna fucking make Mothra kiss Mecha-Godzilla or whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's basically their entire plan. But they need like a third guy because they only have Godzilla and Mecha-Godzilla. So Chibi guy again coming in, and it's like, oh shit, wouldn't he order the destruction of the island? No. He keeps forgetting his own mission, but that's okay.
Yeah, it just gives people environmental messages, and then they go, "Hang on, well, they make who dresses up as Ebera."
Godzilla wants Mothra to dress as Ebera because it's like, oh, he's a classic fucking guy. He doesn't get a lot of fucking doing, you know. I like a lobster. Godzilla is. I'm a fan of Godzilla movies. So yeah, he goes for the deep cuts, like the sea monster. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite bit is when the fairies are hoping to organize a Lady the Tramp style situation with Mothra and Mecha-Godzilla eating traits from both ends.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah.
But yes, the problem is they keep on picking the wrong numbers. Yeah, that's it.
Good shit.
Short and sweet. Then Sengoku Youko, episode 26, a renewed encounter.
Still amused by Crunchyroll going the Rewewed counter, just spelling that wrong.
Okay, yeah, I guess it was their spelling. I was like, did I spell that wrong? But
no, you just copy pasted it. Yeah.
So yeah, everyone starts off. Everyone gets advice from their elders, be it a cat or a wall.
Yeah.
Then macho idiots. They're all off to the temple. Taigo also wants to go to the temple because he's planning on nicking a load of treasure while he's there.
He's insistent they bring him because you owe me a gun. Is basically the thing. I do like the way they've decided on who gets to fight the dragon dad. It's basically like whoever gets there first is basically.
Yeah, because they get there, and the monks are there because they go to the temple, and they explain them what no casualties, and so you guys evacuate. And also, but as the monk's going, he's like, okay, no casualties, but that goes for you as well, Senya. Don't go get yourself killed.
Like, I appreciate they're like, holy shit, our fucking strong Tiger Man monk has shown up. And also fucking Senya. Wow, it's been years. What a boon. Now we can fight back. And they're like, no, you guys fuck off. We're going to beat them without any casualties. But they're like, cool, but like, don't get yourself killed doing it, which is like, yeah.
And also advice. The animation on the dragon's face is going insane. What's up with him? I don't know who got that cut, but they were putting in far too much work.
There's a lot of frames, yeah.
Yeah, when the no casualties thing, that causes Senya to cry a single tear, which allows Now to power up off that tear.
Oh, I assume he came back like filled up with a river. But yeah.
And then we go Pokemon fight. Essentially, as the Void Tribe send all their Pokemon to fight our heroes.
Their army of dudes, which are mostly easily getting taken out, but they did get 3 lady. I keep calling them yokai.
They're essentially yokai.
They're essentially yokai, but they call them something else in the show. They've gotten 3 lady yokai to show up. I think Senya and Now end up fighting a snow woman, essentially.
Yes, yeah, they do.
Yeah. Your man, the tiger guy fighting this one, is like, you can't possibly beat him with a physical attack. Use a mental attack. So she flashes her tits, and he's like, my manliness, and gets a nosebleed from it because he's so manly. Like that would knock him the fuck out. But then he's sensible enough as a cat to cover his nose once he gets the slight whiff of
catnip on the breeze. Yes,
because you want to
illusionary catnip. And Mudo is fighting a mermaid who he's trying to eat.
I mean, like, that fits in his thing. He's like, I hear if you eat a mermaid, you get immortal. And eating things is the thing that I keep claiming I do, but I've never done up to this point.
So they all eventually back off after Tama rescues. But also, the problem, he frees the snow woman, but then she instantly falls in love with him. So they've now got a snow woman at the camp as well, and
because they come back and was like, yeah, we defeated our ones, and it's like you brought your ones back and converted her. Okay, that's
and Tama's
unusual,
like,
but...
so what's the plan? Well, we're going to charge in, and whichever one. I'm going to because the Shaku's there as well.
Yeah,
we're going to free Shaku, then we're going to fight your dad, and then so the only extra level is Senya's part is like, once we fought my dad, I'm going to fight the Void Tribe. And Tama's like, oh god, terrible plan. Okay,
it's no plan. It's just go in and fight. That's your plan.
Let me get you some leave so you can sneak around. But before they get a chance, the consultant who the Void Tribe brought in challenges them and basically says, if you're not here in 10 seconds, I'm going to kill a monkey. If you're not here in another 10 seconds,
kill a rock.
I'm going to kill this rock girl.
And it'll be monkey rock until I run out of those, and I'll start from the weakest to the strongest, like of the guys we have under control. So it just it's just like a terrorist situation, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So Senya rushes in. Like, do you want me to fight all these people? I'll fight them all. And he's like, no, I just want you to fight one person. This guy, your dad, who's now a dragon. Nadare, get him. So Nadare rushes out and then rushes straight past Senya to go and fight the Tiger Man because they hadn't banked on Nadare or the dad, or whoever's in control, also being a macho idiot. I'm going to guess the dragon and the dad are both macho idiots.
I think they're together to some extent, and the dad is definitely there because when he's passing out Senya, he bops him on the head with the pipe. It's just like, boop. Not like an actual like attack. It's just going like, let you know. It's just like, nope, no, not today, son. It's like a little slap on the wrist kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and then the guys go, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, Nadare. Get back here and fight this guy.
You forgot you're dealing with macho idiot versus macho idiots, so you can't. As everyone else has learned, you cannot control these guys. You just sort of point them in the direction that they want to fight. Yeah.
Also, established at the start of the episode, all the other characters are also on the way here.
Yeah.
They're not here yet. And post credits, Tygo finds something in the basement.
He finds Barry's mecha. Man, I fucking love this show. It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It gives me the impression that he's definitely being made up as it went along at this point, but it is
in the best possible way. Yeah.
The mental attack thing just cracked me up. Something ridiculous.
In any other show, that'd be like kind of crass, but in this kind of thing, it's literally the only way you can beat this fucking meathead. Like, that's it.
It just was out of nowhere. It was like, and I'm sure they meant it to be a proper mental attack, not that.
Like, that's the best thing the cat girl could come up with at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I guess it's still plenty left. Then Dan to Dan, episode 4, kicking Turbo Granny's ass.
Why they didn't let you see this on the big screen, I will never understand. This would have been amazing to see on the big fucking screen. Holy shit.
It would have been, and it would have ended the story kind of properly.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just tease you.
Yeah,
they have to go Turbo Granny into a game of tag a couple of times. The best bit is halfway through when the William Tell overture kicks in.
Oh my god, it'd be one thing if just we're kicking in with the William Tell overture. It's like a fucking cool, like nearly what's the fucking thing where they do the drop? Can't think of the fucking genre now. That's gonna drive me crazy. It's kind of like a techno fucking shit mixed into it. It's the visuals of super speed, gigantic crowds, and her swinging around like fucking Spider-Man in this fucking city with her psychic arms.
So essentially, to begin with, she traps Momo and is chasing around Okura until he bites her teat. She's complaining that you're not supposed to do that without her wanting you to do it.
Because she's obviously cheating initially, like she's coming both sides of the tunnel about to eat him. So one's like, oh yeah, you couldn't even beat us in a race. I can see why you're cheating. She's like, fucking all right. What's the fucking rules then? It's like, you give us a 10-minute head start, and then you fucking, if you catch us, you win. That's it. And just like, cool. So your one starts counting in the stupidest way possible. And holds on to her in the meantime and just walks up and he's like, what if I bite your tit though? And she's like, fucking ow, do not do that without my permission. That's not how my curse works.
And then Momo uses her psychic powers while she's trapped to grab hold of the essence of Turbo Granny.
Now that she's possessed him, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we end up. Yeah, when he possesses him. Yeah, and he ends up with like a little vestigial Turbo Granny sticking out his neck for the first half, and then because then they get chased by the crab, who is
the
turns
local
out to be,
deity.
Yeah, who it turns out to be loads of dead schoolgirls.
I mean, we don't find that out till it's a freaky crab with lots of human faces in it initially, but
yes,
yeah, and it obviously
which is attacking a sign with bears. That's any better to understand.
Maybe it's like a pun that we're not fucking getting. It's like Danger Bears. It's like, you better watch out for the crab, motherfucker. I don't know. Yeah, it seems a bit strange.
Yeah, so then Granny calls on all her ghost friends to possess the local population to also chase after them. Gets out of Ocaran's body and into the crab, and then they lure it onto a train where other Granny is waiting for a trap for them.
Yeah, the idea is like, okay, we'll grab the train and pull off, and you can see her like viewing the train, going like, "Oh, I fucking got the way out of town." And it's actually like going like, "Aha, this train goes at whatever, it goes
120
over
kilometers.
120 kilometers. She can go
100 kilometer Granny." Yeah.
But she, as the granny points out, getting on the train is like, this thing has to slow down at curves. I always go at 100 kilometers an hour, no matter fucking what way I'm going. And it's just like, you stupid idiot, we're here to drag you out of the fucking city. So I'm just holding you still on the train until we get over the edge of it. And again, the thing has gone into curse mode where it's all gone red. And like right at the edge of the city, it stops kind of being red. It's just really nice visuals all over. Yeah.
Yes. And then you see Momo's Gran on the train tracks with the two iron nails in the ground.
I assume the circle she's made is just the district of the fucking city. She just has to put the nails outside of it. So now inside all of that city is inside of a barrier. I'm just like, so, so good.
The crab explodes into teenage girls as Turbo Granny is dragged outside and disintegrates, and we'll never see her again. Definitely not next episode.
Yeah, and again, explaining the kind of tragedy of it with her granny, kind of going as like, so basically, Turbo Granny got into murdering people who murdered fucking schoolgirls, which is why she was so obsessed with getting people's dick and balls, because disarming the sexual assault guys, that was her thing. But once you start murdering people, you get a little taste for it as a fucking ghost, and you can't stop murdering people no matter if they've done something wrong or not. So it's like that we can't have ghosts killing people. Like that's not acceptable, even though it is a tragic situation.
Yeah, she's explaining like the dead need to keep out of the living's way, and the living need to keep out of the dead's way.
Yeah.
So you should have gone in that tunnel. Ocaran is or should have been dared to go into that tunnel more specifically.
Yeah, he wouldn't have his own volition. Yeah.
And also, let me see if that dick's reattached properly.
He says, "I can assure you it's there, but no, you're not looking at my dick."
No. And that's where we end it. What could have possibly gone wrong? We'll find out next episode. We'll also get another character.
It also still like it has many moments of like the little romantic stuff building between these two, which is it's always very nice and sweet. Where he says like sayonara, and she's like sayonara, and he's kind of leaving their house. He's like, goodbye is a bit fucking final, isn't it? And it's kind of like she's like, see you tomorrow, and he's like, oh thank fuck, you know.
I was gonna say they're gonna see each other at school tomorrow.
But it's from their perspective, it's like we don't really have to be involved in each other's lives anymore. It's like, except you are going to, but also you're interested. So yeah,
except the end credits.
Yeah.
There's the stuff with when he gets the powers, he becomes depressed. Isn't inclined to use it as a recurring bit, which I forget was a recurring bit because that's not a bit anymore in the comic.
Like he generally comes in and starts sighing. Like his language is a lot more down when he's in the semi-possessed mode. But yeah, it's not leaned on that much.
Yeah, I've been going back to another Jump comic, early chapters where I've forgotten so many details from early on. That it's always useful when you get these animated adaptations. You're like, oh yeah, that's how that thing worked.
Yeah.
This one's not. This is not a show where it's not. There's not so much stuff where you're going like One Piece, where you go, "Oh, that was seeded super early." This is.
Yeah.
It feels more episodic in terms of arc by arc stuff. It
I
builds.
guess for the most part, like, yeah, anything that they add to it, like, that's still in play.
Yes,
like, they haven't forgotten about aliens. Aliens are coming back in a big way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the thing I'm talking about is Academy Banashi, where I went back and read the 30 chapters of that, and I was like, oh, there's stuff I've forgotten here, and now it's paying off 2 years later because they've not dwelled on it, and now it's paying off. It's like that feels much more like a One Piece type of thing.
They told you in chapter 4 where it was going to be. Now at chapter, what do we pass, like 100 and
something, yeah, in the 150s, I think, yeah. Yeah. That doesn't do that quite so much, but it does build. As I say, it builds. So when a character appears, they're part of the cast now.
Yeah. We can always cut back to that character or check in on them later, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Then we got negative, positive angler. Episode 2 is fishing hard. What an enjoyable episode when next to nothing happens.
It's such a I hate fucking calling it because that's such a stereotype of fucking things trying to achieve like chillness, but it's such a chill show. It's so fucking like. You can just not you're paying attention, you're engaged, but you don't have to focus that much in it. It's very relaxing.
Yeah, so the first half is working at the shop. What the hell is this shop? It's supposed to be a convenience store, and it's got so much fishing stock, and it freaks out the people who aren't into fishing, and I can't get my head around all this fishing equipment.
Because like it's fine when a guy comes in and he's just like, hey, can I have that heated up? And it's like, yeah, no problem, sir. It's like, hey, I need a 2x4 tackle fucking with a spinny fucking. All terminology like, I don't have a fucking clue what you just said.
The big thing is realizing like all the fishing stuff is imperial measurements, and him like, don't understand it. And the payoff is then later is that halfway through the episode is Hannah can only think in she's so obsessed with fishing, she's wrecked her brain from thinking in metric, and
like she can't give a guy a change of like it's 2000, but like a change of like 20 essentially. It's just like that's really easy to work out. Like I don't. It's just like, but fucking what is the thing? And he's like, yeah, I can give. Like so they complement each other in that way. I can handle the fishing customers if you handle the fucking till, and that would be great.
So it's like you're good at catching, but you're bad at counting. And then the second half of the episode is Hannah setting up a way for her to say the opposite of that back at him.
The whole fucking second half is her just like, I'll have my revenge, essentially. Of like the most minor fucking thing. I mean, like not that she also gets to go fishing, so you know, win-win. But
yes,
also that second half of her, like a day in her life, where it does like the cuts of her upstairs, downstairs. That was so fucking well done. That was so like nice and just calm about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get at the end the reveal of why the shop's like this. It's because it's a grand shop. She's living here, and so that's how she's been allowed to fill the stock of the shop with fishing equipment.
Like, yeah, the manager says like, I just do the managing bit. Like, it's her shop technically. And I keep going like, hey, you got a new box of fucking tackle or whatever. He's like, we do not. 50% of the shop is fishing equipment right now, so we cannot have room for more fishing equipment, essentially.
Yeah. And also the realization of our protagonist is like, she's younger than me. Then why isn't she showing me more respect?
Because she's using his first name, and he's trying to say it back, and she's like, and he says "san" at the end. It's just like, damn it, I can't not do it.
Yeah. And also his protests that I don't know how to do fishing. I'm like, mate, you've been fishing 3 episodes in a row, and it turns out sometimes you're pretty good at it,
and you enjoy it. That's the thing.
Yes.
Pay attention. You're enjoying this. It's nice. It's relaxing, like this fucking show. But another thing of the design I really like, and it comes up in this episode, I always liked her poofy, round, long hair thing.
Yes.
Whatever the fuck, her hair forms into like a ball at the bottom. I guess it's supposed to be like a lead weight or something. Is the shape. But when she has it tied up, it forms a ball on top of her head. It just naturally conforms.
Yeah. So when she goes to school, she ties it into separate bunches of balls.
So good. Fucking design wise. Yeah.
And a lot of the second half as well is teaching you, the viewer, of different fishing lures and how they work. Because that's what our main character needs to learn so he can answer people's questions until.
Yeah.
Also, like the really weird looking character design guy shows up as well briefly.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're now going to get like a flow of episodes where it's like this is this supporting cast characters deal.
That's what their life is like. That's what fishing is to them. That kind of thing. Yeah.
I like the bit where the manager's like, well, it's not really my place to tell you, but as I'm also divorced, I'll I'll tell you that their parents are divorced.
And it's like, I get divorce privilege. I can tell when other people are divorced, even though it's a sensitive subject. That's how being divorced works. And I was like, I don't think that's how it works, manager, but okay.
Yeah.
He also hears they're going fishing. He's like, oh, you guys are going fishing. I'll fucking go too. That kind of like,
yes.
That's why this shop, I don't know how it stays in business. I guess because some people need convenience store stuff and a lot of people need fishing stuff, as it seems. So, yeah.
Also, Hannah is doing terribly at school because she gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go fishing.
Goes to school, falls asleep. Yeah.
Then we got Mecha-Ude. It's supposed to be important, where we get the battle for our hero's heart. Who loves him the most?
The only thing I'm upset by in this one is you introduce a cool skateboarding fucking frog-based arm and then you fucking murder it. That's not cool. I felt bad about that. I was like, oh, it's a cool frog skateboarding, and he's in the opening. He's like, nope, fuck you. That guy's fucking dead. Well.
Yeah, so the blue-haired girl makes Aki and Jun fight over Hikaru because she is mistaken Jun's interest in Alma as an interest in Hikaru.
I mean, it's totally understandable why, besides the fact that she thinks she's in a romance show, it's totally understandable because, like, what do you think of Hikaru? And he kind of looks at Hikaru, sees the fucking hand hiding in the hood, is like, I'm going to make him mine. And it's just like, oh, all right. I'm into this fucking three-way, like, bisexual fucking confusion shit. This is good.
And I'm going to tie Hikaru up and put a bow in his hair.
Making him the prize.
Yes. Eventually Hikaru promises to take Aki to a
all-you-can-eat meat buffet.
Yeah, something like that.
Barbecue, like
high-class grill, I think, in order to throw the fight. And then I love how, because they do a fist fight, not a mecha fight.
Yeah.
But the punch Jun throws is so weak.
Yeah. She, like, your one's quite tough. You do forget, even without the fucking honking great arms that come out of her. But the other reason that they're doing it this way is because he said, like, his handler, the guy with the fucking Dr. Octopus arm, it was kind of saying, it's like, no using your fucking thing at school. He's like, all right, but I'm gonna get you on the way home. Just watch one of the days. And it's just like, nah, you're definitely on the fucking very quick train to being these guys' friends.
Yes, because then he has a word. Then Hikaru asks Jun some questions about Alma, and it's like, why has he lost his memory? And he's like, oh no, Alma used to be part of our family, the founder of this city, the head.
Yeah, when he shows him the picture, like he recognizes, like, holy shit, that's the founder of the city. You're from that family. He's like, yeah,
yes,
this is a picture of him. So
they used to be best
I own that arm.
And this makes Alma cry because he's like, I don't know why, I don't know who this is, and it's making me cry.
I should feel something, but I don't. But clearly, you are feeling something.
That's later when they go to the library and they see the massive portrait of it.
Of the portrait of him, dedicated to him, since the library was made by him and named after him. Yeah.
Yes. And then we get the frog-armed guy, and his human friend are attacked by the mysterious murderer. And it has a berserker thing put
type user, I believe.
Yes.
Is the thing.
And they have like a berserker Mecha-Ude thing attached to him, which somebody at the start of the episode had also had attached to them.
Yeah, it's the idea that basically they're it was a guy who had 3 arms attached to him. He was looking for a 4th arm, but then they defeated him at the start of the episode, and then he gets up again and is like, wait, he was out of fucking juice because he was using 3 arms at the same fucking time, 2 legs and 1 arm, I guess. But basically what this thing does is they rip the arm off of you, the fake arm, and they attach this thing to you that now you're controlled by it, I guess, is the idea.
Yeah. And then Aki leaves the guy who's been attacked and the murdered frog skateboard arm to pursue the guy, and so Hikaru finds him and calls in everybody, and then gets an explanation of this is the plot, but I'm suspicious from what this guy's telling us.
is the guy with the cane and the monocle, like, is he lying to us? Have the fucking arms been lying to us? Okay, so they're from another dimension, and they came into this dimension to find the guy who made them, who was here, but they need to live off the arbitrary energy that humans produce to work. So I'm just like, I feel like if this is true, you're leaving out some massive fucking details. Yeah,
because they mentioned we worked with the humans to try and revive their creator, but there's something went wrong and their creator went out of control, and Alma had to use all its power to seal it.
And that's why he lost his memories, because he used all the power that put him in a shutdown or something, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. If we can get Alma's memories back, we'll also be able to seal the key to prevent anyone from releasing this power again, is essentially what is explained to Hikaru. And I was like, is that right? Or is that wrong?
I think at a wild, like, I don't think it's going to be that complicated a thing, but I feel like getting Alma's memories back would allow him to unseal it, because only he knows how to seal it, and maybe that's why he purposely lost his memories. And they want to unseal this fucking terrible thing, basically. Yes. That'd be my wild guess, but yeah.
Or they want to make sure it stays sealed because Alma didn't actually seal it, and
you need to finish it. Or yeah. They definitely want to use Alma as a tool, even though they're all about we're partners with all of our guys. It's like, I don't know if you are. And I don't know about that, the arms or the humans involved, that kind of way.
Yes, I'm also wondering, like, is this guy the guy from the photo wearing a mask, aged older?
Yeah.
And then Aki is chased after the Little Red Riding Hood murderer. Says, you killed my parents and my sister, and then spots a doll in the girl's hand, and then realizes, oh no, this is my sister. And that's our cliffhanger. Yeah, so I've no idea who the real villains are at this point. It's definitely not Hikaru and Alma.
Yeah, I feel like the sinister seeming organization who claim to be about freeing the arms, but sure are happy to attach them to teenagers and put them in deadly danger all the goddamn time. This is like possibly not the good guys as well. It's probably just two competing groups where we control the arms. Well, we work with the arms, but we're also doing evil. It seems sinister enough anyway. Yeah.
Then we got Trillion Game, episode 5, The Maiden's Gaze. In which we start again with the modern day, because of course most of this story is a flashback. So it's more stuff with Mizuki and Gaku, and then we get the flashback where it's like, this is where Mizuki came into the story. She was the secretary for Kion Venture Capital as a schoolgirl. It's very Mob Psycho type situation where she shows up after school and then doesn't do any work and goes home again.
So like in the present, it's basically him going down in I presume the building he owns. It's like, I don't want to deal with the press. So if you talk to them, it's like, hey, why did you go back the fuck there? You're my secretary. And he's like, well, how was the story of how you get her? I remember like it was yesterday. And it's her coming to the hacking tournament with her boss, who complaining is like, I'm supposed to check your emails, but you don't get emails, so I just come here, do nothing, and then I go home. And he's like, that's right, you're learning the game from a master. And he acts like he knows everything, but he seems like a fucking dipshit. But I assume he does actually know what he's talking about, because he's here. He doesn't understand any of this computer bullshit. He's watching the people. He's interested in these guys that have the balls enough to announce their team name, and also, can you give us some startup money, basically, in their team name.
Yeah, they establish him quickly that he's rich.
Yeah.
And he might appear that he's a rich asshole, but he's not a rich asshole because he puts his cigarette out when the sign tells him to put his cigarette out.
Like, the guy's like, excuse me, could you put it's a no smoking thing? And it's just like, oh yeah, fucking, that's really fucking annoying. The taxi driver's like, I thought this was like a fucking Yakuza situation where I wouldn't be able to tell him to do shit. But no, he's very polite, basically.
And then what plays out is a very good example of security stuff. This is the sort of thing I get warned about in the quarterly things we have to do for our insurance at work.
It's
Of like
so
there having to
smart
be
because
a
obviously,
physical part. Is there
yeah.
being a physical part to it? Is
It's basically like it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, like genuinely good trickery. That's very simple, but you can see how fucking easy it is to fall for. Like when I was saying, like, why is he waving around like a tinfoil version of like a Shinto priest? I can't remember those things with the paper danglers. And it was just like for very good reasons. I was like, that's so clever. Oh. So he walks up to the front of the thing screaming, praying to the gods, like knocking foil everywhere, and he's basically like chaff grenaded this entire fucking situation.
Yes.
So none of them can get a connection to the router to start fucking hacking the competition.
Yeah. And then the competition all target them. And so they
because
lose all their
you've met an enemy of absolutely fucking everyone. It was like, oh, everyone kicked their fucking ass. And the idea that you mentioned is like, do not try and log on until a minute, or was it 3 minutes, whatever the fucking time limit he gave him was.
Also, they were waiting for Kirihime to lose confidence in them that she'd leave.
Yeah. So she's watching them like fuck up and get like hacked by everyone, so all their points are getting stolen and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody's points are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he knows when you hack, you get a percentage of those points.
You get 5% of the points for every successful like firewall thing you beat. Yeah. So it's just like by their numbers getting bigger, that's now worth more. Yeah.
Yes, because the big reveal is that they've all been logged into their modem that he switched out, and that's why he did the interfere with the Wi-Fi at the start, is so that they'd be desperately searching for a login point. They'd see one which looked like the correct login point,
named exactly the same thing as the correct login point. So be like, oh, fucking quick, we gotta log into now without fucking checking. It's just like, no, do fucking is that the right fucking one? Is it, or has it been named the right one? But they're so desperate to, because it's been a minute and they haven't done any fucking hacking in this competition.
Yeah. And then
they log into their modem. But the other thing is, like, a lot of the teams get an email saying it's like, hey, everyone fuck up these guys, like we'll all work on this together, and it's just like, oh, fucking cool. So they like, and you assume it's from the Dragon Bank guys, and it's like, no, this is from their modem. Now they have access to all of your fucking shit as if they have the password. So they're just in your system as if this one guy is on everyone else's team, and there's nothing you can do about it because he has all your login details. Shit, they're kind of shit out of luck.
Yes. And then, yes, Kirihime's right-hand man is really annoyed at the end because she's back and she's beaming the Maiden's gaze. She's back to wanting these two guys again.
And like, you man slipping away, like when she walked away because they were like, their points had gone down to 0. And it was like, hey, hey, princess, is like, which one of us do you want to sleep with again? I think I just wanted to get that for posterity and like to draw her back in by being a creeping on her.
Yeah, it's very good because it's a reasonable. It's a reasonable thing. It also is the thing of like teaching you not to be careful into what Wi-Fi networks you log into.
Yeah, it's all, none of it's like crazy fucking technology and stuff, like just interfering with it with tinfoil. It's like, yeah, that would work for a little bit, long enough to make them panic and log into the wrong thing, and then it's all very reasonable. And even if you don't understand tech shit, it's just like, it's all very like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's God, I can't remember what it's social engineering is what he's doing. That's the thing that Haru is good at.
Yes, he's no good at the actual computer shit. He could not. If he had all their passwords and could log into their network, he couldn't do anything with it. But he's manufactured the situation in which they panic and they make stupid mistakes that he can capitalize on. Yeah.
And as we established last episode, he's a bad guy. He does not have any qualms about doing this. Oh, what's going on with my? I'm also still there on the video. Or did I disappear for a moment?
You're still there.
Okay, just my display causing me problems. Only seems to be on Crunchyroll and Netflix that I run into problems. I think it might be a Chrome thing and my graphics drivers. Right. Oh, but I have lost my script. What is next on the docket?
Noble Farmer, season 2, episode 18, cow trivia.
Yeah, there's like cow trivia. pretty much it.
I think my favorite joke is the halfway point one where she was like, I gotta get the fucking last train home, and it's like, well, how about a cow trivia? And she's like, fucking what? And that like draws her back to not actually eat any of the beef that is fancy there. Oh, also explaining what the fancy, was it Kobe beef and
Yes, it
Wagyu or something?
was. Yeah, it was the
I
two
never
types.
understood what that meant, so I actually
Yeah.
do appreciate this explaining it to me.
It was like this type of beef has to be from these native cows, and then this other type of beef can be from cows brought into the country, but they then have to have lived in
They have to spend
Japan
predominant
for
amount of
so
time
many
in
years.
Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, this was for somebody who hasn't eaten beef regularly for a long time. This didn't really mean much to me.
I mean, like it's a thing of like it's not something I'm very aware of, so I thought it'd be interesting. Yeah.
And now I'm realizing, did I watch all of I'm Going to Eat Potatoes? The stories of girls who couldn't be magicians. I definitely watched some of it. I definitely watched the bit where she's like, I gotta go, girls. You'll be fine. Take care of all this.
I think that it ended in the episode of like,
yeah.
I'll leave you in the frog's hands. Like, yeah, I think that's how it.
That's it.
Ended,
Yes, because including the blonde-haired girl, mate, she's including her in this as well. And it's like they're like, you haven't taught us magic yet. You've just given us a vague idea of how magic works.
Yeah. So as a treat, she's having the class come out, and the reason we can't go to home ec room is because those damn magic fucking graduate students or whatever are using the home ec thing where they can use all the equipment and everything there. But we're going to cook potatoes. We're going to have a big stew out, but we're going to make it outside. And because magic is in everything, magic's in you, magic's in me. And it's been like plants take solar energy and turn it into potatoes or yams, which are functionally different. And I was like, when she was asked what the difference was, I was like, what? It's like, oh, one's the root and the other one is the tuber. No, that's not the root. The stalk. One's at the end, that's the potato, and the sweet potato is like in the middle. Is I think the thing. It's halfway
something
along.
like that. Yes.
And I was like, I didn't even consider that as a functional difference. I was like, well, one's sweet is what I was thinking, like a dipshit. But it's just like, well, this doesn't feel very magical. It's like, but now we got to cook it. And it's like, how are we going to cook it? Magic. Summon some fire and put the pot on there. And your one has decided, well, since plants use the sun to convert it into solar radiation into energy that they can use to grow, I'm going to use a magnifying glass to convert the sun into fire. So that's technically perfectly legal, says the rich blonde girl.
To be fair, I think that's why she's picked out as being the people who can do the magic at the end. And it's like, and then she's like,
cheating the system is perfectly fair. Yeah.
The dancer's like, what about me? Well, you could give them good support, Tambourine Girl.
You haven't really shown the gumption for magic yet.
The fact that like most of the class personalities have degraded into just being what clubs they're in is hilarious.
Yeah.
Particularly the guy who needs magic. I've got a saxophone and starts playing a saxophone
to try and encourage other people to start a fire. Yeah. Good hustle. Yeah.
I'm also thinking that the twins are swapping places with each other. And
that's the other thing
classes.
I was thinking, because it's like I should be watching, because one of their hair parts to the left and the other one parts to the right, and I was like, does that flip at any stage? Like I should have been paying attention to that the whole fucking time. But yeah, I mean they might just be combing it over the other way. I don't fucking know.
But thankfully, her always starts a fire because she remembers her gran showing how to start a fire with magic.
Her gran says, trace this magic symbol and it will encourage the fire. It's like her gran was just literally teaching her the symbol for fire to summon fire as magic. You're not encouraging the fire, you're making fire. That's but yeah. So she gets most of the way there and it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. But our little girl teacher has to go do something mysterious, and I feel like she's on the run from the cops the entire fucking time.
Yes, because there's a discussion about whether she should be teaching this at all.
Yeah.
Because we get a description of the schism that has occurred in magical society between modern magicians and people who want to.
Something happened with ancient magic, and basically now it's not illegal, but it's the standardized, like you use an app to summon magic. We don't fucking draw runes, because the way ones goes, like everyone has access to magic at all fucking times because anyone can draw a fucking rune. So everyone was magicians once upon a time, and I'm trying to make that again.
Yes, it's socialized magic is what the ancient magic supporters want.
Mm-mm.
Yes, so leaves them a frog. They're being observed by the dog. They're being observed by one of the twins. And both the twins. They both look out the window.
Yeah, one twin is in the class. The other one is watching from. Yeah.
Yeah, I did see all the episode. Now I remember. It was a fun
Not
episode.
a crazy amount happens, but like, yeah.
No, yeah. The dog does not cause any trouble this time. Though he does go back and report to the cat again.
Yeah. Just so you know, that's still happening. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like very much the juxtaposition of like the haves and the have-nots.
Mm-hmm.
One gets to do their home economics in the classroom with their app magic, and the others roughing it outside, digging up potatoes and starting fires.
I mean, the kids are enjoying it. It's nice to get out of the class, you know, that kind of thing. But again, it felt like this was the other one that I felt was seasonally appropriate. I was like, oh, that's nice. They're making a nice autumn stew. That's good.
And then finally, it's Dragon Ball Daima, episode 3, Daima.
Does it explain what Daima is? Because I was like, I'll find out what that is. And I was like, wait, was I not paying attention and it didn't explain what that was?
If that's the case, neither of us were paying attention.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, so they travel to the demon world via
goldfish.
Being shitted out by cosmic goldfish.
I love the thing of like they fly up to the thing and it's like, okay, so there's a portal there, and even explaining how the spaceship works. The airplanes work by magic, so that's why they're so fast. And I was like, does Bulma now understand how magic fucking planes work? Because she's like, yeah, I got the gist of this. I can fix your magic plane, no problem. Anyway, you keep giving Bulma too many fucking things to like. Yes. She's too powerful. But yeah, he forgets to he transmits to his boy, the Supreme Kai transmits to his boys as like where the portal fish is, but he doesn't explain that there is a little passcode that you got to enter in.
You need a PIN number to get through.
PIN number, that's it. Yeah, you need permission to go back and forth, and even like the thing was like, hey, does that guy have pointy ears? And the Supreme Guy had to like lengthen Goku's ears for a second with magic, kind of going like, yes, look, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, so then they get to Zuma World and it turns into Dragon Quest.
I mean, like it turns into Dragon Quest, it turns into Dragon Ball as well. It's just like, here is a wild world filled with danger and excitement, you know, like the theme tune for the opening of this. But everyone's gotten depowered again because there's this gas in the air that makes you very, very slow. So when they're attacked by natives and the natives are shooting arrows, the arrows are moving incredibly slowly. It's like, well, it's not that dangerous then, is it?
Yeah.
And
the very
Glorio does have a fucking
natives.
gun. So Glorio is so suspicious. He's giving him the tour. He's explaining all the shit, but he's leaving out so goddamn much. Supreme Guy is like, yes. I'm probing you with questions all the time.
Shin's like, you work for my brother. Why is my brother sent you here? And he's like, this is the third world, and it is the third world of the demon world.
It's very subtle, because they actually talk about the class divisions. Like, oh, you're race from the second demon world. Yeah. Why would you have to come to a backwater like this third demon world? It's like, so wait, you have to get permission from the first demon world to use the portal fish in the first place. So how the fuck did you get it? It's like,
well, yeah.
He says, I worked in the first world. What did you do in the first demon world? Oh, this and that. It's like, you're incredibly suspicious, Glorio. I like it. It's good.
It is. And then we get amazing Jackie Chan style fight in a bar at the end.
Because they go to a hotel and your man doesn't want to serve him, but he's like, you'll fucking will because I have a fucking gun, says Glorio. And he's like, okay, yeah, you can have a room for the cheaper price. And like, can we get some food? He's like, join across the road, serves burgers. Goku's like, I did eat dinner, but I didn't eat all my dinner. So 5 burgers, please. And obviously the guy's like, hey, we don't like the look of your non-pointy ears around here, kid. Beat the shit out of most people in the bar, except for the bartender. That guy's like, fucking hell, please don't kill him.
And there's one guy in the corner who doesn't get beaten up as well.
Yeah.
But everybody else gets beaten up. And it's the thing of fighting while also eating his meal at the same time is the thing which really elevates it to the Jackie Chan type level of I'm in a fight, but there's other more important things I need to be doing at the same
Like at
time.
one point, his burger nearly gets knocked over, and Goku's like, "Fucking hell!" Like, you know, going for the burger more so than going for the attack, and also like gulping it down while flipping around and doing all the regular Kid Goku stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, that bit's good. The goldfish stuff I really liked as well.
yeah, yeah.
The fantasy quest type stuff is a little rote, I thought, but
I mean, like it does that CG 3D like camera fucking view through this amazing world, and I was like, yeah, it looks great, like guys. You don't. I get it. It's fantastic. It's got floating islands and a weird gas, and it's interesting.
Yeah, the slow arrows though. I guess it's but the highlights definitely. The goldfish stuff is a really weird visual and idea.
Yeah.
And the
And
fight
they treat it with such like there's like you have to get a permission to do it, and then you get a pin code. It's like it's all so normalized, and that makes it even weirder because you have to be eaten and then shat out by a goldfish to pass between dimensions. Good stuff.
And on the other end of this dimension, there's another goldfish.
It's all the same goldfish, apparently. Yeah.
Yes, good. And also, you now like how are the other guys going to get through without the pin code? What could they possibly go wrong? Are they going to end up in a different world because Vegeta's going to be clearly on the next trip, and he's just going to get angry.
Yeah, the more I was seeing of Kai like bags in the seat on a Glorio ship, I was just like, yeah, it's a good thing he came. Actually, he's the only one who like gives a fuck about like what the interconnectivity of this. Goku doesn't give a flying fuck about anything that's happening.
I assume it's going to be it's definitely Vegeta and Piccolo from the credits. I assume Bulma might also be.
Because she's in the credits, I hope she shows up because Bulma's always a fucking delight. So yeah.
Yeah, and then we're going to get to the other girl who's in the other demon girl from the credits as well.
Yeah,
I assume maybe the other half will meet up with her on some other.
Yeah, that'll make sense. We got like two bullets to go with.
But yeah, I can't recommend that fight at the end highly enough. It was top notch.
Yeah, it's great because it like does like the Dragon Ball thing of like downscaling the world fucking shattering shit that we've had before. It's like it kind of feels like Dragon Ball, like as opposed to Dragon Ball Z, which is a compliment for the fight. Yeah,
and I mean so much of this series is just riddled with nostalgia because obviously the guy who created it's dead. Which increases the level of nostalgia the people working on it are going to feel. So,
like nothing's going to really surpass the Piccolo movie for me, and also that fucking last issue of Dragon Ball Super. Man, I was fucking tearing up on that. But like this is nice. This is like it feels less on where we're making something that of a guy who's already dead and he had involvement in it, sure, but like it doesn't feel like writing his corpse or anything like that. It feels genuine in its love of the kind of mad shit that he was into.
Yes, and it's not trying to be a tribute every single episode. It's just,
yeah. That's important.
It just feels like a deep understanding of the basics of the series from top to bottom. And as you say, particularly by reducing the power level, you're getting some of that Dragon Ball stuff. The stuff from like the early martial arts tournaments, that sort of style fighting.
Like the cliffhanger in this one is when they leave the hotel. It's like the guys who they were fighting in the bar but did not kill have stolen Glorio's plane. He's like, "What the fuck?" It's like, what did you think was going to happen? You just parked outside with the other fucking airplanes. It's just like, it's very like, oh no, they've stolen our car. It's just like that's the level of difficulty that we're at right now. Yeah.
And that's it. Except I also watched the first 4 episodes of the new Banana.
Okay, how'd that go?
It's new Banana. There's a space Banana, and the gimmick is it teleports Banana to a different part of the world. They get into all sorts of trouble, and then at the end of the episode, they teleport to another part of the world, and they think they're in trouble again. But they will inevitably turn out, whatever the problem is, it's another one of these goddamn cats in some sort of banana, or something resembling a banana. There's one who's in a shark, which seems really stretching the thing. I quite like the narrator this time. I think I like this narrator better than the second season's one.
Yeah.
Obviously, still nowhere near as good as the first season. But
Hmm.
yeah, it weirdly came out in 4 episodes. I don't
They're
know if
still
there's
shorts,
any more
right?
than these 4. Yeah, they came out
Okay.
all on the. All came out on October the 14th. These 4, and the 4th one ends in a cliffhanger. So I assume there'll be another batch at some point in the future. But it was a Halloween episode. It's episode 4. Banana and Baby Sweet come across a coffin in a dark, gloomy mansion. As Banana carefully investigates, a strange shadow appears behind him. Yeah, so if you're looking for a spooky Halloween, spooky
Halloween
anime to
cat-based
watch,
banana, then
which
yeah.
won't let you down as badly as Uzumaki, then maybe you want to watch that 4th episode of season 3 of Banana. But yeah, that was it. Not watch anymore. Probably watch less again next week. I don't know what I would call this time.
Yeah, it's tough, all right.
It is. Right, that's it for now. Ta-ra.